What did I just watch? So, I want to talk about the new limited Netflix series, Wayward. I have no words. Like, the way I felt. So, I watched it the other day, okay, when I was editing a different video. I was like, oh, new limited series, let me watch this while I edit. Um, I don't think. I didn't know what to expect. And what went on, I have no words. I don't even know where to begin. It gave me the same feeling as when I went to go see, what's that movie called? With all the little Naruto kids running around. Weapons. The movie Weapons, okay? Like, when I went to go see that in the theaters. So if you liked Weapons, you'll like this limited series. And I need to ramble about it. I really do. I don't know if any of what I'm gonna say is gonna make any kind of sense, but I'm gonna try. The story starts in Toronto, okay? We meet these two teenage girls, Layla and Abby. And they're just, honestly, they're just normal teenage girls. Yeah, they're kind of troublemakers or whatever, but it's not that crazy. Like, I've seen worse, okay? But Abby has, like, pretty strict parents, and she has, like, an older sister that is clearly the golden child. So in comparison, her parents, particularly her dad, seems like he fucking hates her. Oh.
I mean, where's the lie, though?
And so he decides, hey, I'm gonna send you to a boarding school across the border. And he's like, you're going to Tall Pines, which is a boarding school in Vermont. And initially, we first hear about Tall Pines because Layla is talked to by, like, the guidance counselor or whatever, because she's troubled because her sister died, like, I guess a couple years ago or something, and so she's been dealing with that trauma, which is probably why she's a troublemaker and stuff. And so he's like, I've talked to your mom about this, we're looking into sending you to Tall Pines. And she's like, yeah, bye, dude, like, get out of my face. And her mom seems kind of distant ever since the sister's passing and stuff, so that's when we first hear about Tall Pines. But Abby's parents actually take the leap and send her there. So Layla goes to school and Abby's not there, and so of course she's like, where is my friend? She's not answering my phone calls, my texts, whatever. And she asks the guidance counselor, and he's like, okay, well, her parents sent her to Tall Pines. And she's like, what? This is her best friend. This is the person that's been holding her down and keeping her sane ever since her sister died, which was obviously very traumatizing for her. Her mom has been very distant since the sister's passing, and so she's, she feels alone. So she's like, I need to go get her back. Alright, so she, like, hitchhikes across the border into Vermont. Now, while Layla is hitching across the border, trying to save her friend who is now in a school where they have to wear jumpsuits as their uniform, we are introduced to Alex and his wife, Laura. So Alex is a cop, and I think they're coming from, like, Chicago or whatever, and so they're moving back to Laura's hometown of Tall Pines in Vermont because something happened when he was on the force over there that forced him to leave, and so with a baby on the way, his wife is pregnant, they have to go back to her hometown where the woman that runs the school Tall Pines, Evelyn, set them up with a house, and Alex has a job now on the police force of Tall Pines. So they're pretty set up, especially because the baby is coming, like, in a couple of weeks, like, very soon. So Laura is actually an alumni of Tall Pines Academy, and it seems like Laura hasn't really been back to her small town since since being there when she was younger, like in high school. And yeah, they pull up to this little idyllic town, and Alex already kind of seems a bit on edge. He's nervous about starting the new job. And first day on the job, first like 10 minutes into the job, okay, his partner comes to pick him up at his house. As they're driving to the station, I guess, or whatever, they're on duty, they're just chit-chatting, and then this kid runs out into the middle of the road, and he's frantic, okay? He's all beat up and bruised and has cuts all over him and whatever, and he's frantic, and, they're both kind of freaked out. They're like, what is going on? Because they literally hit this kid with their car, so they're like, what's happening? Alex is being a good police officer and is like, kid, like, it's okay, we'll help you, like, what's going on? And the kid is like, I can't go back there, like, blah, blah, blah. I've been running all night, yada, yada, yada. Like, he's not making a whole lot of sense. And as soon as he sees, like, on their police uniforms, it has, like, the Tall Pines, like, embroidered logo or whatever, he freaks out, punches Dwayne in the face, and runs off into the woods. And they lose him and can't find him. And they're like, what the heck? And so that is Alex's first introduction to this Tall Pines Academy. He's very concerned. He's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this kid is running away from a school like he was in prison. And of course, Dwayne tries to brush it off like, well, it's a school for troubled teens, and, you know, there are some runaways and blah, blah, blah. Like, he tries to, like, downplay the situation as if that wasn't just crazy. Now, let's talk about Tall Pines a little bit. So, obviously, Abby's in there. She's been in there for a few days now, and it's weird. There's this, like, redheaded girl, and she's creepy, to say the least. Like, she's overly compliant to the rules, and it's concerning, because most of these kids are troubled teens or whatever. They're not criminals. It doesn't seem like any of them are actually criminals. Whatever. All these, like, rules, everybody's on edge and wearing these weird jumpsuits like they literally are in a prison. And so Layla's, like, on the outskirts of the school, and, like, I don't know, all the kids are outside walking around in the grass having nature hour or something. And so she runs because she sees Abby, and she's like, oh my god, Abby! She's like, let's get the hell out of here. But of course it's not that easy, because there's, you know, adults at this school that are kind of like security or whatnot, to come and drag Abby away. And they drag her to Evelyn. And Evelyn somehow she calls up Layla's mom to convince her to let her to come to the school. You have to pay to be at this school. It's a boarding school. And we later find out that Layla's mom apparently remortgaged their house to pay for her to go to this school. Insane. All these adults are really weird and, like, aggressive, and all the adults that work at the school are alumni of the school. Like, they were troubled teens one time, and they went to this school, and now they work there. And they're tranquilizing kids constantly and stuff, and it's just very strange. And even though it's been a few days, both Layla and Abby don't really know what's going on at this school. Like, everything just is a little bit off. They have, like, these weird therapy sessions where they are very, like, they sit in a circle, and they are very aggressive towards each other, like, with the things that they say. And I'm like, what kind of therapy session is this? Like, they're saying horrible things to each other, and it's just so off-putting. And then at the end of the session, they all, like, hug, like, they have a group hug, and it's just, and it all seems like they're almost, like, in a trance. When I started watching this show, my initial thoughts were like, okay, they're doing some kind of science experiments on these kids or something. Like, that's what I was thinking was gonna happen. Like, I don't know, somewhere in a basement in this creepy school, they're doing some sort of weird science experiments. And then I was like, is this gonna go, like, are these kids gonna have superpowers or something? Like, is this gonna turn to Gen V? I don't know. And so Layla and Abby start trying to plot their escape, because they hear about this kid who escaped a couple of days ago, and, like, he hasn't been back to the school, so I guess, like, to them, he hasn't been caught, right? Because he hasn't come back, so I guess he got away. And so they're like, well, there must be a way to escape if he did it. So let's go back to Alex. So Alex feels really weird in this town. Like, there's just something off about every single person in this town. He goes to, like, this farmer's market with his wife because she likes to set up a little, like, stall or whatever at the farmer's market. And everybody knows who Alex is. And he's just like, this is so weird, because it's not like he's met any of these people yet. He's only been there a couple of days. And so he's just like, how does everybody know who I am? Like, this is, like, the strangest thing ever. And then he sees some kids, like, spray painting on the side of, like, a barn or whatever. And so he goes over, even though he's not on duty as a cop at the moment. He's like, hey, do you guys have a permit to be here or whatever? And the kid is very polite, very respectful, and he's like, yes, officer, of course. And he pulls it out of his pocket and gives it to Alex, and Alex is like, uh-huh. Because these are, like, he's realizing now that these are, like, the first kids that he's seen so far in town besides the kid that ran away from Tall Pines. And so he's like, so like, do you guys hang out with a lot of the local kids? And they're like, local kids? And he's like, yeah, like, or do you guys just kind of hang out with each other because you're all alumni from Tall Pines, or like, what's the vibe? And basically there are no local kids. Like, none of the locals here have had children. There are no kids in this town if they don't go to Tall Pines. And all the Tall Pines kids are not from Tall Pines. They're from other cities, other countries, other whatever. Which is very strange because Alex's wife is about to have a baby in like 2 or 3 weeks, okay? Like, they're like 2 or 3 weeks away. And then Alex also finds out that the police station, it used to be a school. Which means that the only school that exists in town is Tall Pines. All red flags, by the way. I would have left right then and there. I'd be like, wifey, we gotta pack up and go because this is the creepiest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's not an aging town, because I think that's different. Like, if you go to a small town, like in Japan, for example, and it's like an aging town, like, yeah, it's not weird to not see any kids. Everybody's kind of in like a pretty similar window of like, I would say like 30 to like maybe 60, late 50s. I'm like, that's really weird. And when he meets Evelyn for the first time, so when they first get there, he's like, okay, I should, because Evelyn's the one who set him up with a job, set them up with the house, so he's like, I should probably invite her for dinner, right? And his wife, Laura, she seems really happy at first when they get to the town, like it's her hometown and all, but then a few days in, she kind of just seems off. Like, it's almost like memories are coming back to her, like, she hears toads constantly, and it's like annoying her. She seems a little on edge. And she also doesn't seem that excited for this baby. And she acknowledges that. It's almost like she's postpartum before the postpartum. But anyway, they invite Evelyn over for dinner, and like, this is Alex's like first real introduction. And Evelyn is very intense. You know, you can tell she likes to be in control of the situations, and she kind of seems like hippy-dippy-ish, but she gives cult leader energy, very much so. It's almost like she has this weird control over Laura, and she tells Alex to go get another bottle of wine from like the cellar, so Alex is like, yeah, okay. Which then leaves just Evelyn and Laura at the table together, and she's like, do you want to play a game? Girl! No, I don't! It's like a truth game, basically, where Evelyn will be able to tell if she's lying, and it's just like to get things off your chest or whatever. And so of course Alex comes back and is like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is the weirdest shit ever. And Alex is not having any of this because he's starting to realize that everybody in this town is so far up Evelyn's ass that they can't even function on their own. Now, the kid that ran away from Tall Pines, he breaks into Alex's house, and it like freaks Alex out, obviously, and he's trying to calm the situation, which doesn't work when Laura comes out of nowhere. She should have stayed in the bedroom. Laura comes out of nowhere, and then the kid freaks out, and he's like, you're one of them, and Alex is like, one of who? What are you talking about? Because it's not like they work at the school, so he's like, what? And that is how Alex is like, okay, clearly something is extremely off with this school, and I need to get to the bottom of it. So he ends up going to the school to pick up the kids. So the kid dies, by the way, in that interaction. But the kid does say that he wrote everything down. Alex has no clue what that means, but he just knows that when he goes to pick up this kid's stuff from the school, he's gonna look for that notebook that the kid mentioned, because he wants to know what's going on here. Because his wife is not really telling him, like, what it was like to be at the school. He knows nothing about it. Anyway, when he's there, he meets Abby. Okay, he meets Abby and, what's her name? Layla. And he wants to help them because they're like, we need to get the hell out of here. This is a weird school. I don't know what's going on. We just got here. Like, we gotta go. And so Alex wants to know what's going on at the school, and he wants to help these kids. But there is this guy whose daughter goes to this school, okay? And he's been trying to get her back for years. Okay, I don't think he's a reporter, but he's been doing research on this school and, like, what they're doing there, because he wants his daughter back, for one. And we actually do meet his daughter in the show. Like, we do see her. But the townspeople and stuff have tried to convince him that she is in like some psychiatric unit or something like that, which she is obviously not. And Alex meets up with this guy to try and find out more about the school and stuff, but he's dishonest with him, so the guy freaks out. Dwayne ends up killing this guy. And because Dwayne's a cop, obviously he can cover it up and things like that. And because this boarding school is like in the middle of the woods in like this idyllic small town in Vermont, and a lot of these parents, I assume, that send their children there don't care so much about their kids, is the vibe, because through some of the students that we do meet, like that seems to be the case. Like their parents kind of just dropped them in this school and like called it a day. And then because the entire town of adults, they're alumni, so they know what's going on at the school, and so they're not going to help the students. So, like, there's no escape. Like, even if you escape the school, you have to then escape the town, and when the whole town is in on it, it's hard to do that. And that is where the story kind of takes us. We start to find out that there's something called the leap that every kid at the school ends up going through at some point or another. Like, it's some sort of hypnosis that is induced by toad venom. Their venom, like, makes you have hallucinations and stuff. And so they put them in like a water bath almost, and they say this really creepy mantra that just like lulls you into this dreamlike memory state where reality is blurred and like has all these like skewed memories, and so you kind of don't know, like your mind plays tricks on you. Evelyn is using that as like a therapy for these kids. Really, it's more to control them and implant false memories and stuff. And so Evelyn is so charismatic. Like, you really do feel when she explains that she wants this idyllic town because everybody has trauma, right? And so by fixing everybody's trauma, you're not going to pass it on. She wants to break the trauma cycle. And so she feels like that is what she's doing. But really, she's just creating new trauma. And so her plan is that with Laura's new baby, they will be able to break that cycle if this becomes like the town's baby. Like, she is so charismatic, and you feel like she does care, and like when she tries to break down her reasonings to you, you kind of understand where she's coming from. It's just she's executing it in a really terrible way. Evelyn realizes that Layla is very strong-headed. You know, she's sort of like the leader type, where she can get other people to kind of follow her and stuff. She's chaotic, like that kind of thing. And so she realizes she needs to kind of break this girl down. And so we find out that Layla's sister, like, I think drowned or whatever, and Layla didn't do anything about it, supposedly. And Evelyn's able to convince her that she hated her sister, because her memories are that she loved her sister. Like, yeah, her sister could be inconsiderate and annoying at times, but she loved her older sister. She wanted to be like her and all these other things. But this woman convinces this girl that she hated her sister and like intentionally let her sister die, or maybe even tried to kill her sister. And I'm like, what? Because she wants to keep this girl here, because Evelyn almost saw Laura, it seems like, as her own child to a certain degree. And when Laura eventually rejects her, she then moves on to Layla, who is a new young mind to form. Evelyn has like this one-on-one with her and makes her feel like special, like she can help with, you know, this new world, this sort of thing. Anyway, the entire town is in on this, because the entire town are either alumni of Tall Pines Academy, or they were there before any of this started happening. So Evelyn and Dwayne the cop, like they were a part of some kind of weird little cult situation. So there was some like hippy dippy guy that that lived in the house that Alex and Laura now live in, and he had like this little basement situation, this like cellar, where he would have like these meetings with people, and it was like a little cult basically. And Evelyn essentially took over said cult and made it her own, and then made Tall Pines Academy, and it's so creepy. And then the whole town is so like intrigued with Laura, because this is going to be the first baby of Tall Pines, and so it's everybody's baby. Alex is incredibly freaked out by all of this because Laura is like, at first she seems like she understands what's now going on, that she was being controlled and that it was creepy and whatever. And then it's almost like she reverts back and she almost starts to become a little bit of a cult leader herself. It is, I like don't even know how to explain this. The feeling, like, this whole show sent chills up my spine. It was so creepy because once everything starts getting revealed, like the toad venom is what is controlling these kids and stuff, and like when you find out about like this whole like cult leader thing and how, you know, they want Laura's baby to be the first baby of Tall Pines, and then they even throw out there, so Laura's parents are dead, and they even throw out there that she's the one who killed her parents. Initially we think it's Evelyn, but then they're kind of like, oh no, it's her who killed her parents, and I'm just like, is it? Like, nothing seems real. Anyway, Abby is not falling for any of this BS, okay? She's getting out of here. And she does recruit, this guy, what's his name? Rory. So they end up escaping the school, but now they have to get out of the town. You know what I mean? That's the issue. And so they break into a house to get food, to like steal stuff, right? So that they could leave. And it's just the three of them. It's Rory, Abby, and Layla. And Layla is now having second thoughts. She's like, actually, I'm not going to go with you. After going through this weird hypnotism type thing, she's kind of like, why would I leave the school? Like, why would I go home? There's nothing for me. My mom doesn't really care about me because she always liked my sister better. Like, there's nothing for me there. And she's just like, we're not going home. She's like, we're going, I think they want to go like California or something, because that was always like their dream. And Laura just wants to stay now at Tall Pines. Not Laura, what's her name? Layla. Girl, stop. So they have like a heartfelt goodbye, and Abby's like, I'm out, peace. It's just gonna be her and Rory, but then they get caught by like the other townspeople, and so Rory's like, I'll distract them, you go. Laura ends up giving birth to the baby at home, like it's a home birth with all the other culty people in town that she was able to revert to her cult. So these people that were under Evelyn's spell are now kind of under her spell. Anyway, she has a home birth. And then, like, everybody, you know how, like, when you have a baby, you're supposed to, like, do, like, the skin-to-skin thing? Well, everybody does it with this baby. It's very weird. Alex is very freaked out, like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, it's all of our baby. And I'm like, what? So then Alex is going to escape. So the plan was Alex would help the girls escape the school. He's so far kept up his end of the bargain because they did escape the school. Now Abby, since, you know, Rory's out, Layla's out, now it's just Abby by herself. And she's waiting. She gets in the car. And this scene is so strange because I'm like, did this happen or not? I don't know. Alex sneaks out of his house with the baby and seems like he's going to leave with Abby. But then it like switches and we see that Alex is back in the house with the baby and his wife in the bed. And Abby's just leaving by herself. Some of the townspeople do turn on Evelyn and send her into her own weird hypnotism. And that's kind of like the end of the show. I'm a sucker for like a bittersweet end. The ending of this series is so messy. Like, it's not neatly wrapped up in a little bow. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what the actual ending is because the unreliable narration. So I'm kind of like, did Abby get out? Did Alex choose to stay, or is he still planning on escaping? Is he gonna try and free the town's members, or is he just like going to accept this? Evelyn kind of got put into a trance of her own making, so I'm like, is she gonna escape that, or is she now gonna be under the rule of Laura? I don't know, but I will say this show was quite good. I love the casting. Also, the fact that this town has been getting away with this for so long. And they're still gonna get away with it, clearly, because, like, what is Abby gonna do? Even if she did escape, it's like, no one's gonna believe her. And even if they do, they're out here killing people off in this town. Like, they don't care. They're hiding bodies and everything. Like, they didn't care when one of their Tall Pine students died. Watch this show. It's a short series. It's a limited series, which, there's like 8 episodes. Me talking about it did not do it justice, so go and watch it, because you need to feel the eeriness of everything that's going on. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about this except for, what did I watch?